So I've had this conversation with older folks, and they complain about why younger generations are not having kids. Furthermore, you see this amongst people on the right. They talk about the collapsing birth rate in the West, especially in European countries, but also in the United States, also in East Asia, like South Korea, Japan, and actually even the third world in a lot of places is also experiencing collapsing birth rates. You look at Brazil, for example, where the birth rate has fallen quite a bit than what it was a couple decades ago. And they ask, well, why is that? Well, there's a lot of factors involved. People, older folks, they talk about, how, what they did, and, they had kids and everything else. And I remind them that younger generations are more exposed to toxins. They're exposed to poisons in the food, the water, the entertainment, the education system. And when you have a sick body and your both your mind and your body is ill, it's not attractive. People, the younger generations, are just, in a lot of ways, they're not attracted to each other, and that's because attraction is not an action; it's a reaction. It's something that happens automatically. It's a reaction to whatever that person's sets of values are. Obviously, people are attracted to someone who looks good because that demonstrates that they have good genetics, that they can produce healthy children. But and again, this is just part of it. I mean, you talk about the falling testosterone amongst men. Again, a lot of this is linked to the toxins in the food, the seed oils, the sugar, the GMOs, the glyphosates that are being used on the GMO crops that have been shown to also lower testosterone. You got the lack of physical activity. That's another part of it. You also have a government system that screws everybody over, which we're seeing on display with the Doge audits, where we have a relationship with corporation and state, which I've talked about a lot. It's been talked about for decades. But essentially, you have the government implementing their agendas, and then you have some of these elitists in the private sector that are doing rent-seeking behavior. They're, like Bill Gates, for example, getting a lot of money from Doge, but you get these, people that get their government favors. They're setting things up to where they screw people over. They're trying to create a permanent underclass. The other thing is replacement migration. Well, first of all, a lot of these are men that are coming over here illegally, so you have a sex imbalance. Now, granted, it doesn't mean that they're competing over the same women. A lot of the women in Western countries, they wouldn't date someone that doesn't speak the language or doesn't have good economic prospects. But nonetheless, it still raises the cost of living, and it still lowers wages, which brings me to another point. Women, like I said before, attraction is a reaction, it's not an action. Women are not attracted. They do not respect a man that makes less than them. So let's look at the Civil Rights Act, for example, because women are quote-unquote minorities. Corporations are mandated to hire so many women, to promote so many women. I've seen this firsthand in working for one of the companies I used to work for. If you were a guy, it was harder to get promoted than a woman. And that's just simply because they were filling quotas. Not to mention the welfare state. So women's income are, I guess I can use the term, artificially high. Women's income is higher than it should be if it was a meritocracy. So you got artificially high income with women. You got everybody that's poisoned. So, they're overweight, they have low testosterone, they have mental problems. The education system it sucks on purpose because they don't want a thinking population. We have a government and private sector that is have created a system of renters and landlords. Like I said, the rent-seeking behavior. You look at big pharma, where they have treatments for everything, but they don't cure anything. So basically, the essence of it is that over time the system has been screwing people more and more and more and more, and it's being done on purpose. It's being done to kill the intelligent, classically liberal population, the thinking population, and replacing them with a population that's more easily managed. So that is the explanation. The solution to this is you recognize the poisons in the food, in the water, the entertainment, the education, and you obviously avoid it. You educate yourself, you read books, you study how everything works, you eat healthy, you exercise, you do all these things, your body will start to work like it should. And when you're healthier, you'll look better, etc. So, anyway, that is the reason why, or one of, well, probably the biggest set of reasons why we are having a demographic problem in developed countries.